Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Roslina and I can explain the material Semantics Pragmatics. Semantics Pragmatics Part 1, Conceptual Analysis. First, lexical relations, synonym, antonym, and hyponym. Synonym, words with similar meaning. For example, big, large, happy, joyful. And antonym, words with opposite meaning. Hot versus cold, happy versus sad. And hyponym or hypernym, hierarchical meaning relationship, subject. Rose, hyponym, flower, hypernym. And rule organizes lexical knowledge into hierarchies useful in taxonomy and ontologies. Next, number 2, semantics rules and scientific relevance. Semantic rules describe participant function in events. For example, again, in theater of an action. John in John hit the ball. And experiences, praises or feels. Mary in Mary felt sad. Theme or passion, identify acts by action. Ball in John hit the ball. Instrument, gold, source, location. Other thematic rules with a sticks to the part. And synthetic relevance, rules often map to grammatical function. Again, typically subject and theme, often object. Next, number 3 and number 4. Number 3, entanglement versus presupposition. Entanglement, if sentence A is true, sentence B must be true. John is a bachelor until John is male, and prepositions, background assumptions, assume true for the sentence to make sense. John stopped smoking. Prepurpose, John used to smoke. And polysemy versus homonym. Polysemy, one more multiple related meanings. Bank, financial institutions or riverside. Related by meaning extends contributes to semantics reason. Homonym on verb from multiple unrelated meaning. Bat, falling, mammal, baseball bat. And contributes to lexical ambiguity, often context dependent. And number 5 and number 6, prototype theory versus lexical categorization. Lexical theory concept have necessary and sufficing features. Birds has wings, waders can fly. And prototype theory concept has a best example, most typical. Robin is the prototypical bird, penguin less so. And implication categories as grading not all or nothing. And number 6, principle of conventionality, meaning of a sentence, function of meaning or parts plus syntax. And for example, green car, meaning of green plus meaning of car, combined meaning and essential for formal semantics, misaligned translation, and NLP. Next, number 7. Semantics field and lexical sets. Semantic fields groups of words related by domain, color field, red, blue, green, and yellow. Lexical sets, collection of words with shared category. Fruit set, apple, orange, banana, and function, organized vocabulary, add in lexical memories and disambiguation. Indexes in this indexicality, words whose meaning depends on context, person, the size, I, you, and he. Spatial dexis, here, 3, above, and temporal dexis, now, yesterday, tomorrow. Discardexis, this the difference to parts of context. Social dexis, title or honoris doctor or sir. Next, Number 10, Christ cooperative principles and maxims. Speakers aim to communicate emphasis and truthfully, and maxim quantity, be informative to not too much or too little. Quality, be truthful. Relation, be relevant. Manner, be clear, avoid ambiguity and fleeting samples such crimes. Oh, great, add another test. Plus quality implies displeasure. Next. Conventional versus conventional implicature. Conventional implicature derived from context and maxim. Some of the student passage implicates not all passage. Conventional implicate meaning interhand to experience and depend of context. Even Joe come to the party, implies John's coming was surprising. Next number. Speech acts theory. Speech acts from function beyond convenient information, location, actual utterance, elocution, intent function, prelocution, effect, or listener's type, a listener and types, activist, step, fact, it's raining, directive, request, place open the window, common sim, promise, I will help you, and experience emotion, I'm sorry, and directly change reality, I know parents you're married. Preposition in pragmatic interpretation, presupposition triggers really on context. Have you stopped smoking? Purpose you smoked before and listening news preposition to fill background knowledge, affecting discourse coherence. And next. Who is she? What is her? Context, clarity, politeness, and social meaning. Context affect interpretation and indicative speech arch. For example, can you pass the salt? Literally a question about ability, but grammatically a request. And preposition and implicator some assumption or implied meanings depend on shared knowledge. For example, John stopped smoking. Presuppose John used to smoke, context determines relevance, and culture and situations context, different culture norms, settings, or speaking in intentions affect meaning. And for example, currents or rumor may be recognized only with context clues. Next. Relevance theory and its role in communication. Relevance theory Spears and Houston, 1986 or 1995 is a primitive framework explain all how humans infer meaning eventually, core ideas, cognitive principle of relevance. Human aim to maximize connective effects while minimizing process effort. We pay attention to information to same mass relevance, cognitive presence of relevance, and every utterance carries to expectation that is worth the listener's effort to process speaker's sign, understood to be as relevant and as possible, a listener's interpret accordingly. Application in communication. Inferring application, some students visit the exam. Relevance theory predicts the listener's inference to all students visit because it's the mass information. Effort minimizing interpretation. In this act, it's good in here. Maybe the interpretation as please close the window, depending on context and relevance. Context interrogation. Listening use context to filter possible meaning, confusion on what provides the greatest cognitive effect with the least less effort. And the next part 2. Case study application. Number 1, ambiguity in the headline. Manners refers to work after deed. This highlights structural ambiguity in semantics because the sentence structure allows more than one interpretation. The phrase after death can refer either to the manners themselves or to a deed instant in the mind. For example, it may mean the miner refers to work after a working dies in an accident. Another interpretation is that miners refers to work after they die, which is logical impossible. Therefore, context is necessary to determine the intended meaning. And two, lexical ambiguity in the bank is full. This sentence illustrates lexical ambiguity and homonym in semantics because the word bank has multiple meanings. For example, the bank is full of customer, financial institutions. The river bank is full of water after the rain, side of a river. So, without context, learners may not know which meaning is intended. Next, number three, metaphor analysis. Time is money. So this experience can be explained through cognitive semantics, especially conceptual metaphor theory. In this metaphor, money is the source domain and time is the target domain. People understand time as something valuable like money. So, for example, I don't know one to waste time since you spend a lot of time studying. Saving time is important. And this example show how the metaphor shapes everyday language. And number four, polysemy in the word table. The word table in example of polysys where one word has several related meaning. For example, the book is on the table. For nature, look at the table in the report. A data cards and commit decided to table the proposal for meaning potential discussion and study may think table is only a noun but context determines its meaning. Next, number five, semantic features is dog, bat, cats, meow, bat, fish. This example can be analyzed using semantic feature analysis. Dogs and cats are the feature, animal, and the bark sound. For example, dogs bark loudly when they see strangers, and cats meow when they are hungry. And fish, however, usually do not produce recognizable vocal sounds. Therefore, fish are often considered silent animals. Number six, componential analysis of color. Using componential analysis, the word color can be defined with a semantic feature. Human a default made married. For example, John is bicolor because he is unmarried adult man. And however, there are issues. For example, a Catholic priest is unmarried but is not usually called a bicolor. This is so limitation in semantics analysis. Number seven, semantic alignment in the adverse our sub leaves the nothing behind. The statement shows semantics analysis because this implies that soap does the leave reside after use. For example, after washing with the soap, the skin feels clean and smooth, and consumers may assume that other soaps leave result. And thus the advertisement indirectly promotes the product and superiority. And number eight, figurative meaning in the that car is a lemon. This is sentence use figurative language, especially an idiomatic metaphor. In this context, a lemon means a defective or low quality card. For example, if a card breaks down many times after being bought, people may say this car is lemon. The meaning is understood through culture, knowledge, and context. Number nine, speech analysis in code. You open the window. This sentence is an example of indirect speech as in pragmatics. The grammatical form is question, but the intended function is a request. For example, a student say, "Could you open the window?" The teacher in a hot classroom. So, according to speech art theory, the speaker intends someone to open the window. And then pragmatics prejudice in we will bring change. The statement demonstrates pragmatic difference because the word change is not clearly defined. For example, some people may think the political means economic improvement, and others may think it means additional perform. Listeners make inference decide on their expectations. Next number. Implication in it's getting late. This sentence show conversational implication in pragmatics. The literal meaning refers to time, but the implicit meaning in the that conversation should end. For example, we guests stay too long. The host may say it's getting late. The guests understand this is time to leave. Irony in night job. This is a sentence irony where the intended meaning in opposite to literal meaning. For example, if someone drops a cup of coffee and a friend says nice job, the speaker actually means that the prince made a mistake. It's so indirect communication. Okay, semantics pragmatics part 2, case study application number 13 and 14. Performative speech act in do you think this woman? This utterance is a performative speech act in institutional contexts such as a wedding ceremony. According to speech act theory, the sentence performs an action. For example, when a marriage officiant asks this question during a wedding, it is help creates the act of marriage. This language forms a social action. And the 14, politeness and face turning act in you should train harder. The sentence can be analyzed using politeness theory. It may function as a face turning act because it can threaten the student's confidence. For example, a teacher tells a student who receives low grades you should try harder. However, the teacher may intend to motivate the student depending on tone and context. Next, number 15. Scholar implication in the dialogue. How was your day? B. Well, you shut up. This response can be analyzed using scholar implicator, a concept in pragmatic purpose by Grace. Scholar implicator occurs when a speaker chooses a weaker experience instead of a strong one on a scale of meaning, leading the listeners to infer additional meaning. In this case, the response is thought up is a minimal or weak statement on a scale of evaluation for a date. For example, amazing, good, okay, bad. Saying only the thought up implies that date was not very good. For example, if date was enjoyable, the speaker might say it was great or I had a wonderful time. However, by saying only he stopped up, the speaker implies the only positive things was his present. Therefore, the listeners infers that was probably disappointing or not enjoyable. This is different areas from scholar implicature, where the speaker internationally provides limited information to imply a negative inflation indirectly. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.